Yes, and just keep letting them in.
Okay.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. So good to have you join us today. We are excited to have you join us today. Welcome, everyone. We would like to know where you're joining us from. So just kindly pop in chat, your name, your location, the network you're affiliated to, and we are curious to know the reason why you're joining us today. So those few questions, your name, your location, your network, and why you're joining us today. Just pop that in chat. And I invite you all to feel comfortable, feel relaxed. If your background or your office space is messy, we really don't care. Feel free and comfortable to turn on your videos, blur your background. If you're taking a walk in the park, if you're working out, if you have your pets and your kids running around, please, they are all invited to join the session. Please just feel comfortable. Whatever will make you be present 100%. That's what matters to us. So you're welcome to this space and the session today. I have with me Ben, Christine, Denise, and Carolina. I'll let them do their introductions much later. But welcome, everyone. Welcome. So I'll go to chat and see some of those messages. I said you can drop in chat your name, your location, the network you are affiliated to, and the reason why you're joining us today. We would like to know. Uh, so Brian says good morning. Good morning to Brian. It's evening here in Nigeria. My name is Naka, and I am in Africa. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you wherever you're joining us from. Alexis, hi everyone. You're calling in from Salida, Colorado. You work with building the climate hive. You're looking for ways to really truly implement peer-led community engagement that feels good and build solid community foundations. Oh, great. Welcome. Welcome, Kim. Kim, you are with Geos Institute, Southern California. You're joining to learn about how to make effective network maps. Great. Christine, you're in Minneapolis and USA. You joined because you respect Christine's work and you're curious what is being learned over the last decade. Okay. Great, welcome. Good to have you all join us today. Keep those messages coming. Your name, your location, and your network you're affiliated to, and why you joined us today. I see a lot of familiar faces. I see Roberto. I see Avani as well. I see a lot of familiar faces. Welcome everyone. Hannah, you're based just outside of London, and the head of community at Big Change. You've just produced some data visuals and excited to think about how to make best use of these and what we might create next. Great. For those of you just coming in, we are dropping our names, our locations, our networks, and the reason why we joined the session today in chat. Katie is in the UK, a social work student. Welcome, Katie. Uh, Nadia Labs, based in Portugal. You're part of the Impact Collective, and you're joining because you feel like system maps often fall flat and quiet after creating them, and you'd love to find out how to keep them alive. That resonates because most times we just have these things, and then all of a sudden we just don't use them anymore. So I'm sure all the panelists are going to do justice to your curiosity and your questions on why you're joining as well. Keep those messages coming. For those of you who possibly this is the first time you're joining us, this is the Networks Festival, and I welcome you all to this space. Just to quickly tell us that the Networks Festival is actually Fito's yearly party, kind of, because according to Susan Davis, if you want to change the world, she says you should throw a better party. So this is just Fito's way of bringing change makers, network weavers, and network leaders all over the world once every year, where we get to meet, connect, play, and brainstorm around very sensitive topics around networks. And so I if we definitely want to rewire how change happens, and all those needs to happen when we connect with people, and then we try to imagine and rewire how these changes would happen as well. So just to intimate us with some of the FITO principles, that we encourage deep listening, and then whenever you're prompted to, please feel very free to share your stories, and we encourage you as well to embrace your failure and just show up as yourself. And so for this year, the Networks Festival is actually coming to an end this week. And so we twisted things a little bit for this year. Instead of having standalone events, we decided to focus our energy around 6 tracks. And this is one of them. This is actually the last session under the network stack. And so we had sessions on mapping ripples, evaluating impact, collective organizing, equitable collaborations, and healing-centered leadership. And so for the sessions remaining, you'd see in chat, feel very free to sign up for anyone that you cannot resonate with for tomorrow and Friday. Friday would actually be the last day. So we also encourage you to give to the sustainability of the festival. A lot goes into the planning, organizing, and framing of the festival. And for this year, we are also going to have some mini experiments happen after the festival, not immediately anyway, a couple of months after the festival. So we encourage you all to give at your level, at your capacity, at your comfort, towards the sustainability of the festival. And so with this, I'm going to hand us right over to Denise. So welcome once again, everyone. Good to have you all join us.
Thank you, Naka. I would first like to thank all of you for making space for this conversation. It does not happen without you. And I extend that welcome on behalf of the Festival Network track team, Avani and Carolina, if you want to wave your hands. And I would also like to introduce you to the Weaving for Change mapping team, which also includes Carolina, Ben, and me, and Amy, who's not here right now. For those of you who don't know, this is the map that serves the FIDO and Weaving Lab networks. And all of these wonderful folks have contributed to today's offering. And as some have already noted in the chat introductions, we have a guest facilitator with us who's popular already, Christine Capra, and I will briefly introduce her to you. She is the co-founder of Greater Than the Sum. It's the company that created the survey tool we use to collect our data for the Weaving for Change map. She is also the creator of the social system mapping methodology, and she's the author of a new book, Scaffolding the Future, Social System Mapping. And this reflects a culmination of decades of thinking about maps, systems change, collaboration, community building, and network weaving. So we're really excited to have her here with us. And today's gathering, as Naka mentioned, is the third of a final session of the Tech Track series. And if you think about the track as a funnel, our first event, which was led by Carolina, introduced us to the possibilities of various network platforms. And our second event, led by Avani, asked us to consider how to make platforms serve network collaboration, not the other way around. And think of this session as a narrowing of that funnel as a case study of how the ideas raised in these a case study of the ideas raised in the two previous gatherings. So specifically, we're inviting you to become curious about the possibilities of weaving when considered through the lens of a specific type of digital network technology, social system mapping. So we too at the FIDO and Weaving Lab have had various experiences with the map as a tool for collaboration, some more generative than others. And today we want to imagine, share, and learn alongside you as we playfully explore the intersections of mapping and weaving and how they can align to support the transformation we all want to see in the world. So, how we will do that today, just a brief rundown. We're going to have a quick overview of the Weaving for Change map, so you kind of know what we're talking about and what we're playing with. And then we're going to have some fun with the mentee session. And there will be 2 rounds of breakout rooms. And in the chat, you'll see there's a message. And just to remind you, if for whatever reason you don't want to participate in the breakout room, but you want to stay for the session, that's totally fine. Just please put an equal sign in front of your name so our tech support will know ahead of time not to put you in a breakout room. We do hope you will stay and connect, but the option is definitely yours. And then we've also allowed time at the end for Q&A, although there will be reflection embedded in, and you can ask the questions by raising your digital hand and unmuting when prompted and/or putting questions in the chat, and then we'll try to discuss them at the end. So that's our session today. Really have fun, relax, as Naka said. And I am now going to pass it on to Ben, who is going to talk to us a little bit about the Weaving for Change map. Ben, on to you.
Thank you so much, Denise. Delighted to be here and to take just a couple of minutes to give you a little bit of a sense of this map, which evolved in 2 main phases, and maybe we're getting ready for a 3rd phase if people are interested in supporting Denise and Carolina and myself and Amy in that. So originally the map was developed for the Weaving Lab Network, and then Fito came along last year for their Networks Festival and invited us to expand the map to include people registering for that festival, as well as members of the Greater Than Collective. And that led to a huge expansion in the map and some increasing complexity in what we have to offer. And so that's just a little bit of the backstory. And let's just dive in and take a quick look at it. You can find the map at the URL bit.ly/weave4change. And let me just get myself set up here for screen sharing a little better. So this is the default view when you come into the map. We call it just the directory view. And if you're not familiar with the Kumu technology that we're using to visualize the data, there's the map here and there's a sidebar here, and this little thing with these 3 dots opens and closes the sidebar. So that's really important to know just to navigate. And there's the main view of the sidebar, which contains general information about the map and links to a number of different views. And then there's some information about map support. There's a document that gives you more of the history of the map and information about it. There's a WhatsApp group you can join if you want some mapping support. It's not always the easiest technology to use, and so we're absolutely here to do our best to have you get the value that you want out of it, both in terms of adding your information and using the map. There are some video guides as well. And here are links to add yourself to the map if you're not on it, or to retrieve your mapping dashboard link if you are. And let's just take a quick look at that mapping dashboard. So this is the SumApp technology that Christine, who's with us today, and her husband Tim created in order to collect data in a very sophisticated way and feed it into a Kumu map. This is not Kumu. It's important to understand. You add your information here through SumApp, and you can put a thumbnail, and then in the profile section, you can put quite a bit of detailed information about yourself, and this all shows up in the sidebar of the map. So if we go back over to the map, and my computer just got a little overloaded here. Hold on one second. There we go. So if we pick any particular person on the map and click on them, we see whatever they provided in their profile information in the sidebar. And then the other thing you can do is use the connections tab here to make connections with other people on the map. And this is part of the special sauce that SumApp was developed to accommodate, as well as to give everyone control over their own data on the map. So let's just take a brief look at how you can use filters here in the upper left to navigate through what is now almost 900 people that have put themselves on the map. So you can filter by which sponsor networks people are a part of. For example, here are all the people that were on that original Weaving Lab map. We can look at who can speak different languages and can network and communicate in those. So these are all the Dutch speakers that were members of the Weaving Lab originally. And then you can also look at things like people's work roles, or the weaving geographies they operate in. So maybe you're curious who's working in Oceania. So now we're down to 3 people. So you can see you can go very quickly from quite a large number down to a much more manageable one. And now just click through and browse the profile information of those people that you've selected. So that's just kind of some basic navigating. If you want to get out of the individual profile back to the main sidebar, there's a little X there, or you can just click and hold in the white space. And let's just take a look quickly at one other view in the less than a minute I have here, but there are quite a few that you can browse through, and often they have video guides as well. I just want to highlight the offers and asks view, which I think is one of the most valuable and potent opportunities for weaving that we have here, and for getting value out of the incredible amount of data that people have gone to, great efforts to provide here. So again, you have filtering, and you can filter by different things that people are offering or asking for support for, and then by languages and all that other stuff, and dig into lots and lots of different offers and requests for various kinds of support. If you're interested in more, please join the WhatsApp group. There's my 5 minutes that's up. Yeah, we'd be happy to talk to you more about this, and certainly happy to welcome more people onto the mapping team as well.
So Denise, you weren't transitioning. I'm just jumping in, yes?
Yeah, it's just up to you. Go ahead, right ahead.
All right then. So thank you, Ben, for sharing that map. I appreciate that I hope it helps give those of you who haven't seen this kind of map a little bit of grounding in what we're actually working with when we talk about social system mapping, and this as an example of other kinds of maps, network maps or system maps or asset maps. This is one specific type that we're working with. And the map that Ben just shared is like full of really valuable information. It's a super robust, super rich, valuable map. And when I started this work a long time ago, a decade ago, this work of creating the SumMap tool, I just assumed that if we made it, they would come. If we built this kind of a map, that people would instantly get the value of the map and be curious about the richness of the data, and be really interested in, how can I use this both to understand the system, the ecosystem that this network is, as well as to understand how to use this network, the ecosystem of this network, to influence broader systems. I have a background in systems thinking, and I just had this vision of the system waking up to itself. And I thought if we could visualize what's there, the system would wake up, the members of the system would wake up and get how they're a system and start to function more systemically, and magic would happen. That was my assumption. That was, and starting 10 years ago with just about every map I've ever touched, or seen somebody else touch, it doesn't work that way. And so we end up with this constant refrain that I hear both in our community of practice and with my clients. Okay, we did all this work. I mean, Ben has put a ton of effort into this map over many years. And like, I know Ben well enough to know how much of his heart and soul he puts into making this, adapting it for people so that it's easier, and he's worked really hard. I have as well in lots of contexts, and still we have this constant refrain, which is, why aren't people using it? And so this has been for, at least a half a decade, finally dawned on me, this is my job. No one else is going to figure this out. I have to figure this out as the as the creator of this methodology that seems to be falling flat, I better answer this question or I should just give it up. Haven't been ready to give it up yet. So I've been working on answering the question, which is what prompted this book that I encourage you to, it will be in a gift economy model. So if money is an issue, but I encourage you to get the link and get notified when the book is out, because I explore all of these things, a bunch in it. And so people asking me this over and over, how do I get people to engage? And the one thing that comes back to me over and over is they're not going to, unless they see a value in it to them that is bigger than being introduced to a person or two. So we sort of focus on introductions as the value of the map, and introductions in network weaving are super important, and a map can help you be more strategic about introductions or facilitate other people's introductions, and that's really important. And we all have a limit to how many people, if you're familiar with Dunbar's number, there's a limit to how many people we actually want to be introduced to, and there's a limit to how many new collaborators that we can handle. And so once we've hit our capacity limit of new relationships, there's nothing left for us to do with the map, and that happens fairly quickly. So the question then is, well, what else is a map useful for? Like, what we've done all this work, we've got all this information in there. And if, if everybody really only needs to look at it once for a half an hour, like what's missing? And so what I keep coming back to is that we need to create experiences, opportunities, invitations, and experiences where people can begin to connect the inherent value of the information, both the information that's structural about the network that the map is of, as well as the information, the implied information about broader system change. We need to connect up that information that's there to the broader systemic changes that we're working on. We need to have some way of connecting the dots so that we're not saying, find someone to collaborate with or make a bunch of new buddies. We're saying that, but we're also saying, and here's how this can help you actually navigate broader systems, actually have a deeper sense of how to create system change, and how to strengthen, not just make more connections within our network, but deepen the capacity, the carrying capacity of the connections in our network, so that we're doing more connecting across differences. We're finding out where people are being left out. We're finding out where the relationships are superficial, that if they were deeper and stronger, could actually increase our overall capacity to make system change. So that's the answer I come to over and over. And then the question is, well, how do you do that? I don't know how to do that. Like, I mean, I've been saying that to do that for years, but then really how? And so I have to do a time check because, okay, we're doing okay. So what we're going to do today is not a direct answer to that question, because the answer to that question is different in every context, but we're going to walk through some experiences that are designed to not answer that question, because the question of how do I connect the data to the big picture, that's a big leap. It's too big a leap to think you can accomplish in any one setting or in any one given moment. It's an incremental, small change that we keep inviting people into, and then we keep sharing that change, that what we learned, what we experienced with others in the network. So it's all about, for those of you who are familiar with any kind of systems thinking, it's all about the what, now what, so what, now what. It's all about the adaptive action cycle of what are we seeing, what sense are we making of it, and what are we doing next? Just lots of that. And so what we're going to do today is just create some experiences, or do some small activities that are prompts that don't go from 0 to 60, but go from 0 to 1 and then 0 to 2, just to start moving us in the direction and see if that, how we can each of us sense into how that could support bringing maps more alive. Okay. I have a tendency to get sped up and then have too many words and lose track of where I was going. So I'm reminding myself to take a deep breath. And Denise, you can, so we're going to start, we're going to do one activity, and don't share yet. I'll tell you when, but be ready to hit the share button. Denise is going to share a picture with you in Mentimeter. And this is going to be a quick experience. We'll follow it up with a more a little more spacious experience of the same thing. But we're going to just start by saying, here's a picture of a context. Look at the picture and find some foods that you like to eat in it. And we're going to give you, Denise, 30 seconds.
Okay, and first I'm going to just put up the screen so people can see
shoot.
the Menti.
Yeah.
And then let them do that. So let me just share my screen, Christine, and then.
Sorry, I forgot about that step.
That's okay. Okay, is it up?
Yes. Okay. And are we gonna, I think we need to then let everybody get into the Menti. Is that correct?
Yeah, let's give people a second or two. Well, more than a second, but. And then while that's going, I'll set my watch for 30 seconds.
People are getting in there.
Okay. Okay, I don't know. I think we're at 44. I think that's okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Just give me one more second and then I'll start it. Okay, so 45, but we'll go. And then here we go. So do you want to do the prompt for the picture again, or I think everyone remembers?
So the prompt is simply look at this picture. And granted, it's going to be the screen. It's a fairly busy picture, but look at the picture and find 2 foods that you enjoy eating, and be prepared to put them in the next slide. And I'm hoping everybody can see it well enough.
Okay, so I'm going to move to the next slide.
Yep. Thank you.
And
And did you time it for a minute? I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that.
that was 30 seconds, but we're at 43 of 47 who have responded.
Let's go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, now we're going to take a minute and a half, and I want you to just not look for anything, but just look at the picture. Just explore the picture and see what you discover when you just follow your curiosity by whatever means it works, it goes. And you also have permission, if you can't stand looking at the picture, just not look at the picture, but the invitation is to just explore it without expectations. And you might need to really get close in. Christina Wu says if you click on it from a computer, it zooms in a little, which is a helpful hint.
Thank you.
And Denise, I trust your timing.
Yes, I am. We have 30 seconds left.
Thank you. You can see a couple smiles.
Okay.
Okay. So just let's take a few moments to just put in what you noticed. Like what's a main, a high level thing you, or whatever. What did you notice when you spent some more time looking at that picture? I love some of these descriptions. Let's go to the next slide. And then given what you just saw, both with your own eyes in the store, as well as what you just saw from based on what other people saw, which might not have been what you saw, what do you wonder? What does that make you wonder? Okay, this is great. And feel free to keep putting your responses in there. And I want to just also now start to move into unpacking what we just did a little bit. So
So
how
stop
many
the
of you?
share.
Yeah, go ahead and stop the share. Thanks.
Okay. Because people can still see it on their phone.
Yeah. And I want to just see a show of hands. How many of you were surprised the second time you looked at the picture? Yeah, it looks like a lot of us. And so, and how many of you saw more of what, so this was an artist, it wasn't an AI for the AI comment, but how many, yes, it was an artist who made that, and she makes several of these, she's made several of them, and Denise found it, but how many of you felt like you saw more of what the artist was trying to do when you took more time and weren't asked to focus on something than when you were asked to quickly focus on one category of information? So the part of the point here is that when we set ourselves, when we say, here's the question, here's how to look, here's what we're looking for, we narrow our vision, we narrow our focus, and we start to accidentally exclude what's possible, what might be there, and it's really easy to miss things. And so for me, one of the key things about mapping is about having a shared picture that we can look at together from different perspectives, so that you can start to tell me what you see, so that I can see what I wouldn't have normally seen, so that we're actually collectively expanding our understanding of what we're looking at, because we all have habits of looking, and those habits of looking can get deeply ingrained and block out other parts of reality, and that is not helpful for systems thinking. And looking at any one thing together that's complex helps us broaden our both what we see in the moment, but also broaden how we use our attention overall, what we expect to do with our thinking as we're working on a complex thing. So, and I'm gonna wait. Where are we? Okay, we're way over time. So I will. Let's go ahead and set up the breakout. So, so we're going to do another activity, and there are two questions in the next activity, and this is bringing this. And what I'm trying to get at with the conversation prompts that we're going to ask you to talk about in your breakouts. And I just want to remind you before we go there, if you don't want to be in a breakout, please, this is your last chance to put an equal sign in front of your name in a way that will help Carolina. So just a reminder to do that if you don't want to go into a breakout. And so this is a piece of the puzzle, is making these tiny little sort of expanding of attention. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to help collectively our network and each other widen our habits of attention. And this is one of the ways we can do that, like an example of an experience, a way we can design our prompts to work with a social system map to expand how we understand how we can use a social system map. So you're going to go into breakouts. They will be, it will be 10 minutes. You'll get a reminder at the 9-minute mark. And the two questions for the breakout are, where in your network, and this can be the FITO network or a different network that you're involved in, but so where in your network do people who would benefit from knowing each other or collaborating each other, where do they really cross paths? And what makes you think that? Why do you think they're not crossing paths? That's one prompt that you can talk about. And the other prompt is, what does your corner of your network need from the rest of it that you've never quite asked for? So those are two ways of beginning to think more deeply about the relationality across the network and how to strengthen the overall relational fabric of the network. So those are your prompts. I think they're in the chat. And Carolina, are you ready? Are you getting the last minute more equal signs?
Yes, just finished. So just a disclaimer to everyone. If you put an equal sign ahead of your name, it's over now. Please don't do it anymore. You will be all in one breakout room where you are free to just not interact, because I cannot keep you all out of it. So you will be in a breakout, but feel free that you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
All right. Can I open breakouts?
Yes.
Yes, and also the question for the breakout room is also on the Menti on your phone as well, in case you forget, in addition to the chat.
All right, here we go. Thank you, everyone.
Enjoy. Oh, somehow.
Give it a second. Where is I need another room because I had two people join later, so
I don't think you added me either, right?
No, I didn't because you were a co-host on the call. So Karen and Motaz, I'm gonna send you two together.
These are dyads you want? Or
Yes, I was told originally dyads. Yeah, but I think there might be one room with three. Yeah,
well, if you
because
need me, if you need me to make a pair, I'm happy to go.
well, I guess maybe with Kieran. Kieran just came back. I'm not sure why, but now Kelly is alone. Hello? I see Kelly and Kieran. Do you need any
You want me
help?
to go to their room?
I think, sorry, I think Kieran had asterisks in their name, and maybe that was meant to be equal because when we got put in a
Ah.
room, Kieran left. And okay, thank you.
Whammy. All right, I'm on my way.
Okay.
Hi.
Oh, and Taylor is here. Force you back, but if you click on the breakout room button, that will send you back to be with
Okay,
Mary.
okay. I see. I got it. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry for that last minute. I meant to say it out loud earlier, Carolina, because
Denise also did, I think. And quite a few people had done it, but then all of a sudden,
yeah,
a lot of people did it. So I'm
yes, yes,
scrambling, but it worked.
yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Sandra and Fatima, welcome. Just if you can hear us, just a quick note that this is a very small group because everyone is doing a breakout room at the moment. So they will be back in about a minute or so, which reminds me, I must send a message out to everyone saying 1 minute left. Tori and Ray are back. Right, you were together in the room? Yes.
Hi, Denise. I think we've met before.
Hi, Ray. How are you? I didn't see you. You were covered on my screen. Oh, it's so nice to see you. We did
You
meet.
too.
Ray did the network leadership series. Not with me. She was the year ahead of me. And you were a guest speaker, right? For the last
No,
part, the extra part, and then you came
yeah,
again for the extra.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Oh my gosh, sorry. I was like clueless. I'm like, who's saying hi to me? It's good to see you. It's great to
Me
see you.
too. Appreciate this webinar today, actually. So thank you.
No problem. It's a collective effort.
Yeah,
A collective
always.
effort. It's great. It's great. How is your network going? Until like we
Oh,
probably have 10 seconds, so.
good.
Yes.
We're working on a map. So
Oh, good.
yeah, using Kumu. So yeah, I was on this call like similar last year. So yeah, since then been really yeah, working towards that tool.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Bug us and bug Christine if you need questions answered.
Yeah. In fact, I don't think we put the link for my office hours in the chat, but
That's
that
coming
would
at the end. Yeah.
okay. Yep. Cool.
Okay, we've got the silent folks back, most of them, and folks should be back. Okay.
Oops. Welcome back, everybody. So just a couple things before we do our next one that I want to share is you'll notice that this was a conversation that did not look at a map. There was no map in this prompt. And what I'm realizing is that if we want to help expand our ways of paying attention to a map, it's actually sometimes helpful to do that expanding piece before we put a map in front of people's faces, because the map itself, that was one of the first things I started to realize when I started doing this mapping, is just the fact of having this map really makes people's thinking narrow down. They start to think, what am I supposed to do with it? I can't read it. They get very much boxed in just by looking at the map. And so I want to start without boxing their attention in and point them to the things that we could see on the map, that we could use a map to help us inquire into. But before we get there, like point them to those things without boxing them in first, so that we actually have a real exploration. And then we can see, is this the thing we want to understand, is it even on the map? Did we ask a question that addresses this? Is this a relational structural thing? Is this a thing about each individual? We can think about that before we start to get aligned with what food do I like to eat. And then we can look at the map and say, do we need to make changes to this map in order to see this? Do we care? Like, do a lot of us care about this particular inquiry? Then we could update the map. Or we can look at it and just say, oh, maybe we could have a different view. Or maybe this is just several conversations and the map gives us pieces of the puzzle. But the idea is starting before the map, if we're really asking good generative questions, I think can actually help expand our understanding of how to use the map and how to bring people into a greater sense of the value of the map, so that even if they're not using it for themselves, even if they're like, yeah, I have my collaborators, I don't need anything more, they understand this is actually a value for us collectively strengthening our structure, or collectively strengthening our systemic change capacity. And so I'm going to keep it updated. Even if I never look at it again, I'm going to keep it updated because I see the value that it adds to the overall network. So I just want to connect that up of, we don't have to be looking at a map to be increasing our understanding of how we can use it. And the other thing is, all of these things that we can, prompts we can use, conversations we can have, there's a layer of needing to share what we're coming up with in story. Like I have these different roles of different functions in a mapping project. And one of them is a storyteller who says, okay, we had an exploration about this and we discovered that, oh, we need to look at this structure a little bit more. And so would everybody go in and update their connections, or just simply, here's what we're now sitting with, or we tried that and it failed, but telling the story of the little pieces of the prompts and the little bits, the little incremental things we're doing, and sharing them will help people get a deeper sense of why we have this map and why it's valuable to keep it updated, even if I never want to look at it again. And so we just did a sort of one little way we could approach that in a prompt in the conversation. That one was about the relationality in the map. And the next one is, we're going to go right back into breakouts in a moment, is about the network as a system. So there's the relational piece, and then there's the systems thinking cognitive piece. That this next one is prompts. And these aren't like big, huge lessons. They're just little ahas and hearing each other and beginning to think together and beginning to expand our attention with one another, so that we're nudging each other. So the next one then, as a systemic lens, the two discussion prompts are, and they'll be in the chat, what's something important to know about your network that no single person inside of it could see on their own? So that's looking for our collective blind spots, sort of. Oh, no, the next one is, if your network had a blind spot, where would you guess it's hiding? And the first one is more about, what do we collectively know that we can't individually know? So just whichever of those feels alive for you, give it a go for a conversation for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back. Carolina, are you ready?
Yes, here we go. she should have done it sooner. Nothing I can do now. I mean, I guess if the other person said, "Oh, she's not interacting," I came back. But hi, Mary. Sorry, you're muted. But yes, there are two versions of you in a room. I put them both in the same one.
Two versions of me. That's a bit scary.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump away for just a moment. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so Mary Taylor is in the other room with one of the versions of you.
How do I go back to that room without
Okay.
cutting out of the main thing? That seems to be the
So you
problem.
just go to the bottom of the screen and there should be a button that says breakout rooms, and that will send you back over there.
No. No, there's no button that says that. There's
You
just
might have
leave, which is
to-
leave the whole thing.
No, you might have to click on the three dots. Sometimes there's less options. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Let's try that. Okay. Join breakout room.
Naka, you must be really tired.
Oh yeah, the festival has been a lot. It's really been draining, and I just can't wait for Friday.
I can imagine. You're like so wired and
Yeah.
connecting, giving us updates, doing it honestly. I think I wrote in to thank you at the end, but I'm gonna make sure I thank you at the end. It's like, no, I really appreciate it. Like, I really like the track idea for the festival. I'm curious to hear the share back from you all and in terms of questions.
Yep. And then in my notes, I have that the Q&A goes until 19 after, and then I hand it back to you or to Naka.
We're gonna look at this. Okay, let's see what I have to do next.
There.
Okay, okay, yes, because which one is more? Okay, so it's like
And
sometimes you
actually,
post a product. That's what we're pointing to. Well, Christine's pointing towards that. I just thought was, yeah, it was cool. That was Christine's idea, but it was very interesting because it's hard. And I think it's worth investigating because there could be real pushback or like this doesn't work, but it's like it's just let's get the conversation going and then grow and see what happens from there. But yeah, I laughed.
40, 50 seconds, but hi, Ritu and Kiran. Folks will be back from breakouts in like I'd say around 30 seconds. So this is why we're only seeing very few of us here now. Everyone will be back very soon.
Thank you, Carolina. Sorry, I'm joined very late.
No worries. You join when you can.
Are we all back? I think we're all back.
Yes.
Okay. How was that? So just by a show of some kind of visual hands or something, how many of you found that conversation that you just had interesting or thought-provoking or unexpected? Just
Completely.
good. Okay, thanks for that. So there's a thing that sits in me all the time because this is what I do. I mean, this is all I do is deal with social system mapping and the little bit of software that we do for social system mapping. And what sits in me all the time is I'm always promoting this as a practice, not as a product. I'm always saying there's this cycle and feedback loop that if we don't really feed this feedback loop or cycle, the map will fall flat. And that brings up the question in me of like, but why? Like, how can a map be that important? Like Christine, you're talking about like spending time and putting energy and inviting people over and over to do this, to look at this thing. And that's not why they're coming together. That's not the purpose. So why would you expect that to be a feasible approach? And what always comes up for me is because the things that we can do if we make it a practice and we work together on bringing the map alive are the exact same things that we need to learn how to do, to be good at, to do systems change. So strengthening relationships, not just making connections, but learning how to deal with conflict across differences, learning how to take history into account without squashing anybody's agency or increasing the overall collective agency, building trust. All of those things are part of the mapping practice. And if we use the map to support just incrementally increasing that, we're supporting our capacity overall to bring that out into the world and into the system change that we want to be creating. That's one thing. The other piece of it is if we use a social system map as a representation of an ecosystem, we can actually use it to start to be thinking ecosystemically. And we need to be doing that for system change as well. So it's really just sort of like, this is our practice gym, or, you know, like our sandbox for practicing the little teeny moves that we make and how we plan and how we react and how we figure out how to influence a broader system. We can do that in a social system map, and it's actually growing our capacity to shift how we pay attention and how we interact with the world. And so if it's not doing that, then it's easy to say, yeah, why would we put so much energy into it? And so I want to always be connecting the dots between the effort we're making here at this micro level just to keep a map alive to our ultimate overall goals of system change, whatever they are, and be connecting that in the practice as well. So why are we having this particular conversation? Why did I use this particular prompt? Because of our larger goals. So I wanted to just make that connection. I want to point out that there isn't, and I'm going to just say a couple more things and then we'll go into Q&A. So just to let you know where we're headed. So there isn't, bringing a map alive there's no quick fix. It's just this ongoing little iterations that are designed to help amplify the larger goals. And our noticing, our attention, how we're learning to think together and not only think together, but perceive together is the piece that is, to me, at the core of why I have a map and why, and what we're trying to do. That's like the bottom, the deepest level is shifting how we understand reality around each other, around ourselves, by sharing our realities with each other. And I think that's all my last points. And now I'm going to just take a breath because I need to take a breath occasionally. And then we'll open it up to Q&A. And what I would love for you to do for Q&A is if you have a question, to raise your hand, your electronic hand, and then we'll take them, and then I'll call you and you can unmute, and then we'll work through them that way. And we'll see how much time we have. We have about another 12 minutes, I think, for Q&A. So hopefully we'll get them all in. And hopefully you have questions. Okay, so let's go ahead. And if you have a question, or a clarifying question or a deepening question, whatever is up for you, please raise up your electronic hand. Alexis.
Thanks, Christine. My last chat partner and I, it was interesting because I really appreciated the question. If your network had a blind spot, where would you guess it's hiding? But that's the thing about blind spots. You don't know where they are. If they were, they wouldn't be a blind spot. What are some methods or recommendations or suggestions you have for exploring this deeper, like getting out of our own biases?
Yeah. So I love that question. Because I feel like what you're pointing to is has been driving me about my blind spots about social system mapping for a decade. And what I come to with that is there's, in my mind, we can, not to be reductionist, but I sort of boil it down to there's two ways of discovering your blind spot. One is by sharing your thinking with other people and hearing how they react to it. So if we're sharing our thing, especially people who are participate in whatever the dynamic is that you have the blind spot about, the different perspectives in the system that you're trying to change or whatever it is, sharing your thinking and hearing other people's thinking is a major source of, oh, I see I had a blind spot. Now I can shift something because I can see something I couldn't see. And the other one is really leans on systems thinking. So if, like I know Kristen is participated in the Human Systems Dynamics Institute, as have I, but whatever systems thinking frameworks you have, I treat them like an opportunity, like there are structures that guide your attention. So there's a, and I don't want to be using jargon that people don't know, but there's a very simple model in the HSD system framework is called the containers, differences, and exchanges. And if you sit down and just think, what are the containers that are impacting our situation? What are the differences that are impacting our situation? And what are the exchanges? That guides your attention to places that it might not naturally go. So like just a rigorous slowing down and any kind of framework that feels applicable. And it could be any kind of framework that you just slow down and look at whatever the issue is from different angles, ideally doing with several people, then you get a lot of potential for magic. But even just doing it by yourself starts to guide your attention around its normal pathways and beyond its habits. So that's why I say relational, like deepen the relationships helps us think differently, and just gradually, easily, lightly, gently doing kind of systems frameworks that help train our attention to behave differently.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And Denise, I'm going to ask you to, if this works for you, to keep an eye on the chat, and if you see something there, to bring it into the conversation if that feels like a good move to you. Any other questions?
Just stepping in here because I saw a comment that was interesting from Nadia in the chat, and I was wondering if it might be something that maybe you want to comment on. What it's Nadia said that given that systems maps can be either overwhelming and or people have limited capacity to explore them themselves, I wonder if it can be some of our roles as network weavers to discover the opportunities in the map and make those obvious to the players or set strategies that others can follow without too much effort. In your experience, maybe do you have anything to add to this or any recommendations?
Yeah. So in my mind, that is all, people's feeling sense of overwhelm as well as the just limited bandwidth is always a challenge, always going to be an issue. And the way I like to think of it is if we use that constraint or that limitation we can use that as both, we can use that relationally. So if we say, let's three of us get together and look at a map together. Okay, and use that as both a relationship building, like we build trust, people get comfortable asking questions that they might not be comfortable asking in a larger group. Those questions are treated with, as serious, not like, oh, you're dumb, sort of responses. That is a relational move, as well as just a map reading move. So that's one. Some of the absolutely the doing the sense making and finding information that's useful for everyone can be done by a small handful of people and then shared as stories. And then you can tack on an invitation like, okay, so we've learned this, and then there's an invitation that comes out of that, like who wants to work on that or who has more thoughts about it. So just sort of weaving storytelling, inviting, sense making, just having a more robust flow of awareness of what's going on is a really valuable when you don't have a whole lot of people who are interested doing that. And then there was one more thing. Oh, and for people who are interested, who are like, I think this is really cool and I wish I understood it, but it's just overwhelming and I can't stand looking at it. That's also a place to do some simple systems thinking practices that help you learn how to like hear the signal from the noise. So pattern spotting, or which is a HSD thing, but to just develop a collection of ways of helping people learn how to filter out the chaos or distill down the chaos into what's meaningful for them at the moment. That's part of what I'm saying is a cognitive practice or a way of working with our attention so that we're not overwhelmed, because the world is wildly overwhelming lately, and we have to have the skills to know where we need to put our attention when, and how to sort of think about that so that we're not crushed by how fast things are changing. And a map is a mini little piece of that kind of exercise, but it actually can't hurt you. Whereas some of the chaos in the world maybe could. So, and it's also, you're part of it. So it has some kind of meaning to you, whereas a lot of the chaos in the world doesn't. So it's a good starting point.
Yeah,
Hope
thank
that's
you.
helpful.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think it came from a comment from the chat I had with Jen, where actually within a lot of systems maps, as a seer of the systems map, you kind of realize that all the resources are there for people to actually achieve their own objectives. It's just when you're in it, it's a lot harder. So how do you help bring that to light as the network?
Yeah.
Could I just add in here to what Nadi was saying, what Christine was saying? One of the things that I found enlightening with my interactions with Christine is the part that I think with the maps that I steward outside of the Weaving for Change that I probably will embrace and try more is the storytelling. So it is, even if, because the last part of your question, Nadia, speaks to the question is AI can help. And I've noticed that a lot of, and I'm thinking about AI and mapping as well, a lot of people have moved to the AI, but if we don't tell the story of why we need to put in the data, the AI in itself will be useless, right? So part of it is, I think we overlook is why is it worth my time and my busy schedule to update my profile or to put in my needs and offers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, if I don't have that need right away, is if we, to your point about as network weavers, the storytelling part, I think, is the part of, hey, we did go to the map. Like Christine mentioned this, but I'm just reaffirming that we did go to the map and here's what we did with this. And though subconsciously you're like, okay, this is why I should update that data because the AI is only as good as the data that we provide it, right? So you can only read so much. So that was one of my aha moments in thinking about this more deeply and how I'm going to test it out, see if it works, this theorizing. So I just wanted to add to that.
Mhm. Yeah, I appreciate you amplify. I think that piece about the storytelling is the piece that well is like one of the last pieces that dawned on me was, I had this sense making role, the mapper role, the visionary role, and the storytelling role was the last one that came to me. And when it finally landed, I was like, oh, this is the most crucial piece. So uplifting that over and over so that, again, not everybody needs to use the map for sense making. Not everybody needs to use it even for anything, but the more people who see the value of the map and how it's helping the rest of the network or it's helping the overall system change goals, the more people are going to be willing to keep it updated with their own information and their own relationships just to help with that, being able to see things for others. So, yeah. Okay, looks like we're about at our ending point. So I'll just say if you, again, people have been putting in the chat links to to be notified about my book when it comes out. It'll be pretty soon. And then a systems thinking workshop for network members. So it's focused on impact networks and systems thinking that I'm doing in partnership with the REAMP network. If we could put that link back in for registration for that. And then I think others will talk about contact. Yeah, my contact information is in there. And I do get online every Thursday at 4 o'clock Central Time in the US for people to jump on and ask questions. And feel free to just, I welcome anybody who's got questions related to any of this stuff, who just wants to talk, have a moment for us to talk live. All of you can feel free to jump on my office hours if you'd like. That's my invitation, and I am complete and handing it off.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you. I will take a minute, and you can take as many breaths as you want. You've shared your wisdom, and I think we all really appreciated it. And I would also like to invite you, not that I'm sure many of you are already MAP members, but if you aren't a MAP member, you can join the Weaving for Change MAP that we have for members of FITO. There's a link in the chat. You do not have to, but an invitation is there. It's not closed. We are going to be running a series of invitations and not seminars, but opportunities and experiments to build and go play more with the map and get more deeply into mapping and thinking about some of these things that Christine has offered us to think about. And maybe we can drag her in for another session or two. So this is just the start of a conversation in essence. It was just to situate how we want to, one ways in which we are thinking about mapping, but there are many different ways that we are going to do until the next festival. So you're more than welcome to join and come when you would like to. Christine's already mentioned about how to connect with her and about the book sign up and the reamp. And I would also like us to thank NACA and the FITO team, because this is truly a collective effort. Even the framing of the invitation and the announcement, we kind of said, here's an idea, and then they made it all so beautiful. So I just really want to reflect and spotlight him and the people behind him and pass the baton to him, but really much appreciated. And again, thank you everybody for signing up. This has been really wonderful to have you here. NACA, the floor is yours. And we're on time, people. We are on time. This is a big deal.
Thank you, Dennis, and thank you, Christine, for such an elaborate and insightful session. I'm sure we are all, you left us yearning for more. And thank you, Dennis, as well. Thank you all. But just before we leave, like I shared earlier when we started, uh, just a minute, trying to share my screen here. Oh no, that's not it. Just like I shared earlier when we started, we have quite some interesting sessions left. The festival will be rounding up officially on Friday. And if you would still like to join the remaining sessions, I just want to quickly run us through what is left of the festival. So right now we're actually at this point at the Networks Festival. And immediately after that, we would have the Fix-It stations that would run from July to September. And it is actually a peer-to-peer session where we kind of identify a problem in our network and we try to solve it as a group. It's actually a smaller space. And some of the topics that we selected for this session of the Fix-It station, we have a group that would be looking at equitable evaluation. We have another group that would be looking at shared stewardship, and another group will be looking at how to imbibe playfulness and joy in your network culture. We also have a group that would be looking at resourcing relationships, both financial and non-financial in your network, and another group on shifting colonial patterns. And so the links to sign up is there in chat. We have quite limited spaces left. Like I said, it's really a smaller space of maximum like 12 people to really meet and talk. And so also, the funding sessions will be running from July to August, and then we have the track experiments that Denise was trying to talk about earlier that would also run between August and September, because all tracks would be running these small experiments at the end of the festival. So look out for that invitation as well. So thank you all for joining the session today. And in the usual Fito way, there's something I like to do before I end, before I say the goodbyes. So I like each and every one of us to just turn on our videos for a few minutes. Those of us that have our videos turned off, we're already saying goodbyes. So just please turn on your videos, unblur your backgrounds. And I would like each and every one of us to just pick out someone, any one of your choice. Just identify one person and stare at them. Just your attention, your focus, your gaze, everything should just be on that one person. I'd like you to pick any one of your choice. Just pick somebody of your choice and keep staring at them for a bit. And I'm going to ask you, what are you noticing? What is that thing that is catching your attention with that person you're staring at? I'll go first, and somehow I just can't resist the bookshelf behind Christine. I'm sure those are very great collections of books, and I'm sure I would like to visit your library one of these days. And so drop in chat, just drop in chat who you picked and why you picked them. What is that thing you noticed about them? Carolina, you picked Alexis, and there are musical instruments in your background. Very cool and very rare to see. Lovely. Avani picked Ray's thoughtful expression. Nadia, you're picking Giolina's beautiful smile. Giolina, the painting in Brian's background. Denise picked Kian. You love the bookshelf behind Kian. Very colorful, nice. Kristen picked Ben. His smile. Yeah. Ben, someone loves your smile. His environment is one, and I haven't seen him before. Nice. Motaz picked Kian and the other color-coded bookshelf. That's two picks for Kian there. Christine Ray, sweet small smile. Okay, Alexis, Nadia has such kind eyes. Oh, you could see the eyes. Nice. Chandra, I noticed the art and plan behind Jessane and her earrings. You love them. Maybe you could ask them for the pair. Nice. Keep those comments coming. But thank you all for joining us. And I hope you had so much fun. We are right on time. And I'd just like us all to unmute and say goodbye and thank you in your language in there as we count down 3, 2, 1, go everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Gracias.
Gracias. Nos vemos pronto.
Adios.
Hi, Roberta.